everyone? Hey, it's pretty common for us as parents to kind of react or act a certain way. And then we're kind of like hard on ourselves. We're like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I act this way? Why am I so triggered? If you ever felt this way, or listen, you have someone in your life that you care about. It could be your spouse, your partner. It could be your own parents. It could be your coworkers. And you're kind of like watching them and they're just reacting a lot. And you are wondering, like, why are they acting this way? Like, why are they so triggered? Why are they so intense? Why are they so quiet? Why? Then this episode is for you. George, do you have it in your life that you kind of look at and you maybe spend a lot of time with this person or you care about them? You're like, what is going on with them? Like, why are they so reactive?
I think all of us do. All of us have those type of, and the inner dialogue we have to deal with is like, should I say something? Like, should we just ignore this, or should we just like, do we have a talk with them and then make it awkward? It's like I don't know what to
Right.
do, so you just ignore it and move on. But it's so
Right.
awkward.
It is so awkward. I think a lot of the times we just like say things like, "Oh, that's just the way they are." But what if
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
not like the way they are? What if there was a method behind the madness? What if there was something deeper that you having a better understanding of this person, and you might be thinking of yourself, would help you to understand this person, help you understand yourself, and help you to live a better life. Well, if that is
I don't know. I
connecting
mean,
with you at all, yeah.
I like that idea, but does that fix the problem that we think they're facing? Does this
That's
make? Are
it.
you just saying that it makes it more digestible, but then their actions are okay,
That would be
or
something, yeah. Let's come back to that. Does knowledge about, let's come back to that 'cause I don't have an answer right for you right now. Does knowledge about a certain topic fix a problem? Does knowledge
right?
about a problem or a painful pattern, does it not fix it, but does it make it more tolerable? If you want to fix a problem or heal a problem, don't you have to have knowledge first? I think so.
You
And
do,
I don't
yeah.
know the answer to those
But
first two questions, but I
yeah,
know that one is true.
it's like, oh well, he acts crazy because his dad acted crazy on him, so it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I understand why he acts that way or she acts that way because she had this growing
Yeah,
up. I have that knowledge, but now the
right.
question is, do I help that person fix that? But the good news is,
Yeah.
you're going to help us, help us fix it ourselves.
We've got some really good, really interesting stuff prepared for you guys today. I'm really glad you're here. If you care about your kids, you care about your spouse, you care about yourself, you care about breaking
Yeah.
generational cycles, this is for you. Everybody hates that feeling of when you go to the car mechanic and they come back and they tell you, oh, man, this is the problem. Everybody hates that feeling when your computer breaks down. These are like
Yeah.
horrible feelings.
I
You
know.
hate that feeling if you go to the doctor and you get a bad report. But there's actually goodness and hope in a diagnosis. Because with a diagnosis, you at least know kind of more about what's going on, and then you can develop a treatment plan, right?
True. Yes. And then you got to have that action plan to make it go into fruition. So this is going to be good. We're going to diagnose some problems today.
We are.
And maybe you're listening, you'll be like, gosh, that really rings a bell for me. Or, oh, that rings a bell for Susie down the street.
Yeah.
You could send this to your friend too. Be like, hey, check it out. I just found this podcast. Have a listen.
Yes. This is really going to be, I think this is going to be something that you might want to share with somebody you love or care about or just re-listen to. Okay, so I'm not really into like superhero movies or Marvel movies very much, but there's a movie that has a prequel of a character that I saw it 10, 15 years ago. And I was like, gosh, I think it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's called Batman Begins. It's the prequel to understanding the Bruce Wayne story of how he became
Sure.
Batman. And
Right.
it's a superhero movie, whatever, but it's kind of like a drama. Like what would happen to somebody in their childhood that would make them want to dress up like a bat and spend their
Right.
millions or billions like fighting crime and fighting psychopaths. And that's kind of like
Right.
a part of what we're going to do today. I'm going to invite you all to look back into your prequels or into your spouse's prequel or your own parents' prequel, these other people that we're thinking of, and say, what are some of the events that might have occurred that led us to be who we are today? I think that's kind of interesting.
No, very much so, because you don't know what you don't know, and you just think, oh, these guys are so crazy. They keep yelling all the time, or they never tell me how they feel. Why do they bottle it up so much, you know? And it's like, well,
Hmm.
maybe that was just the way they were brought up. You don't share your emotions. You bottle it up and you move on. So at least right now we get to understand that prequel a little more.
I did a little Google search, best prequels of all time, right for this.
Of all time.
Yeah, I'll tell you one that really popped. You got any prequels that come to mind? Just putting
No,
you on
I'm
the
trying to
spot.
think. I mean,
That
you were thinking about Batman. That the prequel Joker won a bunch of accolades. You know why Joker became Joker, but a super dark movie. I never actually saw it, but
oh,
it gave
so
you that
good,
understanding. You
so
liked
good.
it?
Yeah, it was so good. I didn't see
Yeah, I never
I didn't
saw
see
it.
the sequel to that movie, but that got
To
really
the
bad
yeah,
reviews with like Lady Gaga or whatever. But yeah,
right.
I think
All right.
the
What
one
is the best?
I think Godfather Part Two is actually like
Okay,
a
top one.
prequel. Yeah, and then I
Okay,
think there's like a Star Wars. I think maybe like Part Three. Indiana
Rogue One.
Jones. I don't really know which one. Indiana Jones Temple of Doom was
Okay.
actually a prequel. Whatever. Let's
Oh,
talk
was
about.
it? I didn't know
Yeah,
that. Those
yeah.
are
I
cool.
miss
That's
those
cool.
movies, man. I grew up on those movies, but I haven't
I
watched
know.
those. Those are good movies, dude. Those are good movies.
Well, they
All
kind
right.
of turned. They went south, but that's okay.
Here's a couple. Here's a couple things. Okay, let's pick. I'm gonna pick a few areas of like adult life that our people struggle with, and I'm just gonna
Hmm.
bring them to your attention, and I'm just gonna see, um, kind of get us going here with a train of thought. Ready? Okay, so let's say
Yeah.
that there is someone in your life who is an adult, and they're like really into flirting with other people who are not their spouse or their partner. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. They're just like
Yeah.
addicted to flirting with people. This is like a thing, just like
Oh.
drug abuse
Okay.
is a thing, alcohol abuse is a thing, yelling is a thing. This is a thing. So why? Why?
Okay.
Well, I don't know why. I wasn't there. I wasn't there in this person's prequel, but maybe they just didn't get enough attention, like as a child, and now they're just
Right.
like addicted to attention. Or
That
maybe
makes sense.
maybe
That's what
they
I was
didn't
gonna
get
say.
enough attention as a kid, and then they became like 13, and they started like dressing a certain way, and they finally started getting attention, and now they're just
Yeah.
like addicted to the attention because they think this is the only way I can get attention in life. See how
Right.
someone's prequel might actually affect their present life. You vibing? Can I tell a couple more examples to kind of get people thinking on
Yeah.
this prequel, trying to train of thought? You with me? Okay,
Yeah.
let's say that
I'm with
there's
you.
a avoidant, and you're married to one, and they just
Sure.
won't talk.
Right. A lot of
Like,
us have that situation happening in our lives.
that's way more common than flirt, right? It's like, well, what are
Sure.
your thoughts about this? I don't know. Well, I mean, tell me
Let's
can
talk
we
it out.
talk about this?
Right.
No. What's the point? No, I don't want to
Right.
talk about it. Right? It
What's
sounds
the point? That's so true.
right. So why?
Yeah.
Why are people like this, man? Is it did they come out of the womb?
Maybe
this
they were
way?
never taught how to
Yeah.
communicate.
Maybe.
Maybe they were brought up with, like I said, you just bottle it up and move on.
Yeah, maybe they were modeled that.
What good is it? What good is it to tell someone
Mm-hmm.
anyway how you feel or what the problem is, because they're just going to disappoint you again.
Right. It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
is there a 3-year-old child who when you ask them, hey, how are you feeling? The 3-year-old's like, I'm fine. I don't really want to talk about it. Like, does that child exist? No,
Right.
like maybe this is what happens is maybe the avoidant one talk because immediately when they start talking, they get really flooded and they get very overwhelmed with the feelings that are coming
Or
up.
maybe they tried talking it out with their friend, and their friend's like, whoa, 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 you're sharing too much. And then your friend moved on because, like, man, this person just wouldn't shut up.
Right.
And you're like, well, am I
Right.
supposed to talk or am I not supposed to talk?
Exactly.
You asked me what's wrong, and I'm trying to tell you, and now you're saying that
Right.
I'm a head case because I told you what's wrong.
Exactly. Maybe when this
Yeah.
kid was 4 years old, their parent was like, why are you crying? All right, suck it up. We don't cry. Come on, get going. And they just shut it down. Maybe they embarrassed them. Maybe the parents shamed them when they were 5 years old and said,
Maybe that's a good point.
stop crying. You cry so much. You want to be a sissy? No one likes that.
Right.
See, how about this one? How about the overscheduled mom scheduling their kids constantly? They're
Or
just
scheduling yourself if you're a mom. You're too busy as the mom.
The kids have got to go here. You got to go there.
Yeah.
And you are
You
constantly
got the PTA
stressed.
conference. You're a people pleaser. Yeah.
You're stressed constantly. Why?
Sure.
Why? Maybe you grew up in a chaotic home and you're just addicted to the chaos because you experienced some chaotic upbringing and it just feels normal to you. And living in a
Could it be
peaceful,
the opposite?
it sure could. Tell me what you're thinking.
I didn't have anything growing up. No one paid attention. I had to entertain myself. I'm going to make sure my kids don't have that. So I'm going to schedule them up. I'm going to be the parent teacher volunteer person. I'm going to be the president of this. I'm going to make sure that they're going to this. I'm going to make sure I'm always there. Right? I want them to have the best childhood ever by go, 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 because I didn't
Yep.
have any of that.
So good. Yeah, man. How about this? This person that you're thinking of, it could be you. You're just like really reactive around your kids and around others. Just react. Someone says something to you, it's like you can't just ignore it. You got to say something back. You
Yeah.
got to make a scene. Why? I don't know. Maybe you never really felt safe growing up, and maybe you were criticized a lot growing up, and you were having a hard time kind of developing good self-esteem because there was so much criticalness and like aggression or even meanness. And now,
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
Could it also be, these are great examples, but could being a reactive parent also just be because your kids don't freaking listen and I'm going to be reactive because every time I tell you to do something, you forget to do it, I'm going to snap at you because I'm like, I've told you 15
Yeah.
times. Or do you think it
Yeah.
always goes back to our childhood or
I
our
don't
parents'
know.
childhood?
I know that a lot
I don't
of
know either.
I don't know. I don't think that you could always say the word always or never,
Right.
but I have heard this. I've asked in 20 years of working with parents, I have asked many parents this question, like, why is your kids' emotions so hard for you? And this is
Okay.
this is. Do you have any guesses what the number one most common response
Because
is?
they won't listen.
No, I said no. Go deeper. I get it, but
Okay.
kids don't listen. But
Right.
these
But why
parents
am
over
I?
here, right? They're not as reactive to their kids not listening. But you're telling me you want help with this. I'm here to help you by asking you this question.
Well, those parents
Why?
just don't care. They probably just don't care. They tuned them out.
No,
Right?
they
And I
care.
care. So I'm going to be like, yo, I said brush your freaking teeth. How many times do I got to tell you?
Any guesses what the number one thing I hear is?
Um, r- r- um, not being heard, right? I'm not being seen as a parent. I'm not being understood. I'm not being respected. Anything
That's
like
good.
that.
That's really good. I hear that a lot.
I'm just
That
throwing
was
that out. I
good.
don't know.
Yeah, no, that was good. Maybe that like that thing you said about respect. That's very
Right.
up there.
Maybe it's
People
deeper.
have a deep problem. Some people have a deep
But where does that
problem.
come from? Now I'm
Right.
dissecting this. Why
that
do I
come
need
from?
to be respected? Right?
If you,
Where
if
does
you
that
don't-
come from?
If you don't want to feel disrespected, you shouldn't have had kids in the first place, right? It comes with the job.
So true. Right.
It comes with the
Right,
job. Like,
right.
so that would be a second question. Be like, why is it so
Yeah.
hard for you to feel disrespected? What happened to you?
Yes.
And then they're like,
That's a
what are
good
you
point.
talking about, crazy man? Who,
Right.
no one likes feeling disrespected. Don't try to psychologize me, Freud. Like, don't
Yeah.
be stupid. Don't ask me dumb questions. I'm like, all right.
Right.
Like, here's something that I hear a lot of. When I was growing up, I would never talk back to my parents.
Oh, okay.
I would
Okay,
never
here we
treat
go.
them the way my kids treat me. So then
Right.
I say, well, what does that have to do with this? What happened in that story of your childhood experience? What does that have to do with today? Why is it connected? And then like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that. And I was like, well, think about it. Think about it right now. Like we're doing the work right now. This is the inner work. And there's a lot of different answers that people come out of it. But one of the things that they commonly say is because they have a hard time putting words to it. This is why you're listening to this podcast, everybody, to put words on things that are hard to talk about. They say, well, it just doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem right. Like this is not the way it's supposed to be. The way it's supposed to be is the way I was raised, where you don't talk
Yeah.
back to your parents. You people please them. And I was like, oh,
Right.
is that what you want your kids to do to you?
Or like maybe it's a family name thing. Like if you're disrespecting me, you're disrespecting my dad. You're disrespecting his dad. You're disrespecting
yeah.
the family legacy here.
Good, well said. I mean, this is just a rabbit hole that does not stop.
Right.
Right? This
Right.
is like,
Right.
how about like, the blamer? Let's go with blame. Let's close up our examples with blame and yeller. Why do some people
Okay.
blame so much? You make me this. You do this to me. Yeah, I would be. I
It's
don't
not
be
my fault.
happy. Yeah, it's not my
Yeah, it's not
fault.
my fault. It's not my fault.
I would
Yeah, I
only be
did this
happy
because
if
you did that.
yeah, my husband is such a workaholic. He's an alcoholic. We can't, we can't even be happy because of him. Where does the blame come from? Why does
Yeah.
why do adults blame? Did something happen in their prequel? Maybe because if like, think about it this way, your parents in an ideal world, when you make a mistake as a child, they're supposed to come up to you and say, hey, you made a mistake. I love you, but this was a mistake.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I want you to feel safe about this right now because I love you. You're a kid and you're only 10. So, but I
Yeah.
need to let you know this was a bad choice. And then that makes it easier for the child to be like, okay, yes, mommy, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Let's move on. Right?
Right.
But if you
right?
don't have that emotional security and someone's coming at you so hard when you're 3 years old or when you're 12 years old, well, then, of course, the coping mechanism would be to divert. Well, that wasn't my fault. Like, it was
Right.
your fault.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that a lot safer to do? Now you're starting an argument and you're blaming, you're lying, you're diverting to
Yeah.
protect yourself against the crazy adults, right?
It's easier to do that. That's why you have what's the term? Is it called narcissists, where you just constantly lie? You just constantly aren't telling the truth. You aren't the person you say you are. You just keep diverting.
Yeah, that's a narcissism is what we've been talking about. The society's been talking a lot about narcissistic personality disorder for the last 7 years, and that is I believe, and a lot of people believe, that this is like, that's an outcome of really bad traumatic parenting, trauma. Narcissism disorder occurs with really bad parenting and a lot of bad stuff happening in your childhood. Does that make sense? Just a coping mechanism.
Yeah. Well, do you think this trauma? I know we're still trying to roll through all this, but do you think that this trauma in your field is an important thing to figure out and tackle, and can actually be overcome to move past it, or is it an excuse to stay where we're at, or does
what
it depend on the person?
That's a great question. Yeah, we're going to heal our trauma right now. We're healing it right now by
Okay.
talking about it. This is why you're listening
Oh,
to this
okay.
podcast, everyone. You're becoming trauma informed a little bit.
What'd you do today? Oh, dude, I listened to this podcast and I'm so trauma informed now. Like, I'm
That's
gonna
a-
overcome anything thrown my way.
That's it. I don't know why you're laughing, but I
Dude,
get it.
we gotta make merch. We gotta make merch. Some of the terms that we have on this show, like I've never heard. I'm gonna get a shirt that says "I'm trauma informed." Like, this is hilarious. This is good.
Here's a couple things that also would incorporate with childhood trauma. Just a child, ask yourself, did this happen to you, your spouse, these challenging people you're thinking of, where they grew up and they just did not feel heard? Or, they have a parent who kind of denies their reality. Like, that's not true. Stop making up stories. Or they're being told directly or indirectly, you can't feel this. You can't have these certain emotions. Another thing would be a parent figure who really can't regulate their own emotions. That can be traumatic. Having a parent
Right.
who's just can't regulate their own emotions, or having a parent
that's
that's
a lot of
focused
us,
on
yeah.
appearance, always focused on how
Right.
everything looks. You see how traumatic that can be? Or having a parent figure who does not model boundaries. It's just a boundaryless life. These are all
Yeah.
like things that can create childhood trauma, my man.
Yeah. I mean, but that's life, right? That's everything
know.
you said we all
I love it.
encounter. It's not
I
like
know,
we
it's
have
so
to
good.
like, it's like, dude, this is what you deal with being alive on this planet and being a human being. We can't, I guess we
Really
can break
good.
it down, and some of us need to break it down, but others like, gosh, do we really have to go here? Like, let's just move on. Let's just, we're making it a bigger deal by slowing it down and stretching it out than saying, okay, this is a blip on the radar. Let's get better now and take the next step forward.
I love what you said. It needed to be said. I'll say something similar. Let's argue with ourselves, and let's argue with this podcast episode. It's like, it is life. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to get this type of information in the hands of like some vulnerable 16-year-old kid, and they're just going to take it and they're going to become a victim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
My
That's
mommy
exactly
yelled
right.
at me when I was
Uh-huh.
11, and my parents are
Right.
divorced, and I was bullied in the first grade, and somebody said something mean to me online, and I have trauma. Like, this is not like a theory. This is what's happening to our kids.
I
And
just heard on the radio that yeah, I still listen to the radio. Gen Z has to do you know when you're a kid and your parents used to send you to like finishing school? It's like, "Oh, you're going to go to finishing school. You're going to
no,
go to
what
the."
is that? What
Well,
is that?
it's like you learn how to drink tea properly back in like I don't know, 1700s. You learn how to be
Oh,
a lady. You go to finishing
oh,
school to be like you know, it's like I don't know. But like Gen Z now has to go to these classes on how to
yeah,
like mingle in the workplace.
yeah, I know,
So
yeah,
it's like they're
yeah.
not ready
They're not
to be
ready.
around a bunch of people telling you what to do. Like,
Right.
no, I don't care. You're not going to sit here and cry because your report was due and the sales team just dropped the call because you didn't give them the numbers they need.
Yeah.
Like, let's go, you know?
Yep. We talked about this book that Jonathan Haidt wrote a lot on this podcast. It's called The Anxious Generation. It's very, very long and very heady. But he actually wrote a book before that, which is called The Coddling of the American Mind. And in that book, I think I did a podcast book report on it once. One of his points that he pointed out was about how, like, there's these really bad ideas out there that young people are like adopting, and these ideas are very toxic. And one idea is like, these when these bad things happen to me, I'm a victim of them and I'm in pain. And so your point and our point in this section of this podcast is really important. There's this fine line between, like, are you a victim or is this just
Right.
like life? And
Yeah.
this is why, if you're looking for a tip on how to get through this with your kid, whether your kid has been a victim of actual abuse or actual hard times, what we want to say to these children and teenagers and Gen Zers is, you need to make a choice in life. You're either going to be a victim or you're a victor. And I am not going
Okay.
to let you be a victim or support this victim mentality. I'm going to point you in the direction so you can find healing, you can move on, and you can be a victor over this stuff, because this is what it takes to be a healthy adult. It's that
I
simple.
love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
that freaking simple.
That's great. Can we move to, do you want to move to the ACE now?
Yeah, now we're going to go to
Let's pull
legit
up our
trauma.
pants.
Yeah, let's pull. What do you
Let's
mean by that? Pull up your pants. Now we're
like
not.
let's
Yeah,
okay, take the belt, tighten it, and really sit
yeah.
down and kind of get into this, and then
Now
figure
we're
out how
gonna.
to overcome it.
So I think what we're talking about here is what Jordan's going to say now. He's going to talk about how there's this line, and there's some legit trauma that happened on this one side of the line. It's real. And then their line is, yeah, this is hard stuff that you got to work through. We're going to take a few minutes. We're going to talk about some legit, actual bad stuff, like
Okay.
really traumatic stuff. Take it, Jordan. Tell us about
So
ACEs.
ACE, ACE, adverse childhood experiences. Okay, some of the stuff Sean's kind of been breaking down for us, but it gets broken up into several different categories. You got abuse, and then there's subcategories: emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. All very serious, right? You've got neglect. Is it emotional or is it actual physical? Were you left somewhere in a car for 3 days, or is it my parents won't listen to me? So you have abuse, you got a neglect, and then you also have something just household challenges, right? Intimate partner violence, substance abuse in the household, mental illness in the household, parental separation, divorce. How many of us have gone through divorces in our childhood? Maybe you're
Yep.
a parent going through one right now. How is that impacting my kids? I need to maybe check in with them. Incarcerated household member, right? Maybe not as many of us have gone through that, but the parent got locked up, something bad happened. And in 2016, there was a study, 34 million children, 0 to 17, which is basically nearly half of the US children at that time, had at least one of these 9 ACEs, right? And more than 20% had 2 or more, right? The higher the score, the higher the risk for later health problems for our kids, right? So when you look at these ACEs and how prevalent they are,
Yep.
let's just go to the first category, abuse, all right? And let's go, what I would say is, one of the biggest ones that we face in this country, physical abuse. Did you get the
Yeah.
belt? Did your parent, rough you up? Did they strangle you? I mean, this is serious
Yeah.
stuff here.
Yeah.
And almost 38 or 30% of the kids had some kind of physical abuse. I guess if they were to ask me, I'd have to check this box and say yes, because I got
Really?
the belt as a kid, and
You
that was
did?
a form of physical abuse, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I would check yes because it was physical, and washing your mouth out with soap, is that
I got
physical
that.
abuse?
I got right.
I got that too,
I
right?
did too. Bar soap or liquid?
Bar soap, dude. Bar soap right in the teeth, and you couldn't get it
Ah,
off. Oh,
yeah,
it's terrible. My
yeah.
brother got it more though because he had a little potty mouth. So so you had 30% that had physical abuse. You had 20% that got sexually abused, and you had 10% that was emotionally abused. I would argue if we were to do this study right now, almost 10 years later, that emotional abuse, Sean, would be way
I
higher.
was
I think
just
'cause-
thinking 10%? No
yeah.
emotional abuse? No
I
way.
don't.
That's
I
got to be
think we
way
know
high.
more about it now.
Yeah,
Before, again, this is 2016. It was like, okay,
yeah.
my dad told me to shut up, whatever. Now it's like my dad told me to shut up, and it's like I was emotionally abused. We're in a
My
different
gosh.
society.
Oh, well, gosh, that was, I don't know to cry or laugh right now. I saw
But
your
it's the
face.
reality, okay?
Right.
Neglect, 15% emotional neglect. All right, 10% physical. I bet the emotional's higher.
Oh my
Household
gosh, if you were
dysfunction.
to, I got to jump in. Right. I
Yeah.
got to imagine if you were to give this survey to modern high
Oh,
school
dude,
and
it'd be
college
so
kids,
different. Oh yeah.
emotional neglect, I'm guessing it's going to be 40%.
Honestly, you should start doing some studies with the people that counsel, these kids. You should have your own. We could be doing
Yeah.
data from Sean Don's data. Here are the kids
Yeah,
I talk to. Here's what
gosh.
they say. Anyway,
Yeah,
and then
jeez.
household dysfunction. What leads the chart here at almost 27% is household substance abuse. How many times do you know that parents are taking the cough syrup too much, or actually
How about getting
doing
drunk?
drugs.
Right?
That's what I
No.
meant when I say taking the cough syrup. Like, yeah,
Oh,
getting drunk, marijuana, getting high all the time,
yeah.
just lazy, or worse, hardcore drugs. That seems to be
Let me just jump
higher
in. Let me jump in.
than
Like,
the other stuff.
let me jump in. Like, there's, by the time you're listening to this, there's got to be a holiday that's coming up, whether it's Christmas, Easter, 4th of July. I'm just taking a little pause because it's saying here that household substance abuse. So the next time you think about maybe getting drunk on, Christmas Day, getting drunk on the 4th of July, getting drunk on an average Saturday, getting drunk while you're camping, you want to pause and ask yourself, do I really want to do this? Like, is this really what I want to do in front of my children? To
Right, they're
show
watching.
them they're watching.
Yeah.
And if I do get drunk like this, the chances of you doing something abusive or saying something crazy, it's going to go way up. And
Yeah.
so, like, if you love drinking, you love getting buzzed or you love getting plastered, I care about you and I care about your kids. I'm just asking you to really pause and really think deeply about your relationship with alcohol. Please continue, Jordan.
Well, no, I mean, we can wrap it up there, but I mean, I would just want to say with household dysfunction, substance abuse leads the chart. Parental divorce, 25%, which, you'd think would be higher when they say half of divorces or half of marriages end in divorce. But anyway, these are all part of the ACE, the adverse childhood experiences. We've all gone through it. You listening have probably gone through it. No one's had a perfect childhood. You could
Right.
argue that these rough childhoods make you a better person. All the best musicians in the world, the movies that are made, it all has to
Jeez.
do with a dysfunctional
That's
childhood,
deep. Oh my
overcoming something,
gosh.
right? And becoming better. So you can't
Wow.
have because if you have a perfect childhood,
Yeah.
does that mean you're going to have a perfect adulthood? I'm going to argue no. You have to
Gosh.
go through turbination up and
Yeah.
down.
I was reading a book by Dan Martell. It's called Buy Back Your Time, and he was talking about how his research discovered he's a very well known entrepreneur and YouTuber, and now author. His research found that 9 out of 10 successful entrepreneurs had a very chaotic childhood, and he talked about how in his book, part of his success is that he does well in chaotic environments, and he was just addicted to being around chaotic environments. And so,
Yeah.
see, that kind of makes sense. Now, like, here's a personal story from a client from like 12 years ago, and this story was what tipped me over the edge and to look more deeply into childhood trauma, because I knew it was real. I was reading research about it, but when you actually hear a story like this from a child, it kind of blew my mind. So I was working with this family in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they brought me in because their only son, the teenage son, who's age 15, disliked his dad and did not, like, hated his dad. and said
Right.
negative things to his mom about his dad. Didn't want to spend time with his dad. So I was brought in to do my super nanny thing at the time in person to try to help this family like have peace and healing. And here's a long story short. I met the dad. He's a good man. He's a good dad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I'm wondering, is this guy weird
Yeah.
behind closed doors? Is he weird?
Correct.
Right?
Good
Is
point.
he
Good
abusing
point.
alcohol? Does he cuss his wife out? Does he lose his temper?
Yeah.
Is he a weirdo?
Okay.
Is he unhealthy behind closed
Were
doors?
you able to dissect it? Were you able to figure it out?
I think I was. And the answer is that he was a good man behind closed doors.
Wow.
He's actually a pilot. And I don't know. I know some pilots. Pilots are great. Yeah, pilots have problems. Pilots.
I know some pilots. Pilots are great.
I mean, pilots are super organized. They're great with
Yeah,
their
okay.
they're great with their emotions. Like
Okay.
the pilots I know are amazing people. Like to be a pilot,
Okay.
it's a big deal to be a
Oh
pilot.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're career driven.
Yeah.
You're career
And
driven.
maybe
You
maybe
gotta
you're maybe you're a
pass some tests.
narcissist, and maybe worst case scenario. I know that back in like the 80s and 90s, a lot of pilots and stewardesses had a problem with adultery, and because they're traveling. And so I'm like wondering what's going on here. So then I started just diving in a little bit deeper into this kid, asking a lot of probing questions, a lot of counseling. And here's the long story short. He tells me he was spanked as a child. And I'm like,
Shut the front door.
yeah.
This is what you got down to.
That's it, man. And I was like, okay. And then he starts telling me these like stories like he'd been abused. But he hadn't been abused. He'd just been spanked by his dad.
Well, here's my question. Who is telling him he's been abused? Someone is feeding him this, like, oh my gosh, you were spanked, you deserve,
No, it doesn't
this.
work that way.
You were,
No, it
are
doesn't
you
work that
sure?
way.
How
I'm
is he
sure.
learning that this is
I'm
like
sure.
a
No,
okay.
this is the problem with
Okay.
spanking. This is why every website you'll ever see now, and everybody who knows anything about child psychology says, don't spank your kids. Because for some brains, they receive spanking. I was spanked. You were spanked. They receive spanking as abuse.
But I also was shown love, which then countered the spanking.
Hey, man, that's you. That's cool. But that was not this kid. He was shown love too. I trust that this family loved this kid very well. But this is the problem with childhood trauma. Here's a second story.
Dude, I'm so glad I don't do what you do. My
Here's a
reaction
second
would be
story.
completely different
I've
from
had
yours in that
my
situation.
my team and I have had numerous stories like this. We're meeting with a teenager, and the teenager is not doing well, and we're like, "What is going on?" And then the teenager tells us, "Yeah, I've been," starts opening up to us, spilling their guts about how they were severely bullied. Now, I've told the story on this podcast, and I know you well enough to know you're gonna laugh, but try not to laugh
Okay.
because this is serious.
Okay.
And so we're like, well, tell us about the bullying. And because that's good. That's how you heal from trauma is you got to talk about it, right? It's got to come out.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
the child tells us, don't laugh, Jordan, about how they were bullied. These teenagers tell us how they were bullied in the kindergarten.
I'm not going to talk. By what? Because the kids pushed him down the slide or said it's my turn to cut him in a line?
Exactly, right?
Is that being bullied?
Exactly. So this is not. This is about the fragility of the brain, the childhood brain, my man. Bullying bullying can cause trauma, and I've seen it firsthand, man. This is not like 5 or 10 kids. This is numerous kids we've met with, and they talk about how they were bullied in the kindergarten or the
How old
first
are
or
these kids
second.
again? Give me an age range.
Teenagers.
Give me an age.
Teenagers.
Okay, so in my defense, what I'm going to say
Yes.
is they're being fed that through
Okay.
social media or other students saying, if you had this happen to you, then you deserve this. You are a victim.
That's a good point.
Your parents. That's my thing. They're getting fed this from somewhere else because I
No,
don't think
dude, it's a
they're
good
going to come
point.
to this conclusion on their own.
Hey, man, that's a good point. But I'm just telling you, sitting across a teenager, and they are telling you this story like it just happened. And they're talking like it's very traumatic. It's real to their brain, and it needs healing. And it's very real. I
Okay,
remember.
then I'm going to ask this question before we move on.
Yeah.
If that's the case with this teenager, do you think they can get enough confidence in rebounding from this trauma to not have life throw them a curveball in the future
They
and
need
have them
to.
yet
No,
again go down this rabbit
that's
hole.
why we're doing this podcast, because you victim or victor, whether you went through serious trauma, childhood trauma, aces, 7 aces, 2 aces, or a little bullying when you were in the kindergarten. This is like a human story, man. This isn't like one or two people.
Because life is not going to be kind to you, right?
Right.
I mean, the world is going to be brutal. So
Right.
it's like their confidence
Right.
is low, and we need to build that back up.
Yes. And so we've got to teach our children, like, hey, you know what happened to you, it was real. Like, not minimizing it, but what you do with that prequel story really matters. And what you do with your prequel affects your present, and it's going to affect your future story. So Jordan and I have crafted 5 action steps for us about what to do if any of this relates to you, right? And so some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, that's what happened to my kid. My kid was bullied in the 1st grade. Some of you are thinking, that's what happened to me. I vividly remember when I was 7-year-old and I checked out of my relationship with my mom. I said, I'm done with this woman. Some of you were like, age 13, I looked at my dad and I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. This is like, or you know what? I was there, you weren't there. I was at a high school party. I was age 16, and something happened to me, and it was so bad, and I have not been the same since. And yes, it's affecting my parenting because I'm so scared. I'm so scared of my kids getting hurt, and I want to protect them at all costs. I don't give a crap what happens to them. I don't care if I am a tiger mom and a lawnmower mom. I will not let my kids ever be hurt the way I was hurt. See, it's connected, man.
Okay, I understand. So let's get through these
Okay, but
tips
Dave,
and help these kids
just
or these
wanna-
parents.
I want to say I love everything you've said in this podcast, and I hope I didn't like.
You didn't. Dude,
I'm
you're
not
doing
like
great. I mean,
you're doing great too. I'm not arguing with you.
Sometimes, like, I get so frustrated. It's like I don't have time for that. Like, I sometimes I'm just like, and it's hard because I'm a parent and my kids will be crying over something so silly. I'm like, I have to walk away. I'm sorry. I can't believe you're crying over this. I literally have no
Totally,
time for
dude,
this.
totally.
Right? And I hope that doesn't impact them. And
No,
know,
it's-
I think that's why it's good to have 2 parents, because then you have one can coddle if the other's gotten in a situation, and you can yin and yang.
I think that's good parenting. Like, imagine if you didn't do that. Imagine if you just were constantly coddling your kids or telling them, yeah, you're a victim. Yeah, you've been bullied. That must have hurt. Like, if your kid has been bullied, go back and listen to our bullying episode. Incredible episode. Incredible information that we were learn and discover about bullying and about how coddling and playing into that victim mentality is not good for the child. Right. So this is what you're like, what your attitude that you're bringing to this podcast, man, is super needed, man. But my attitude is
Well,
good too. It's
hopefully
like
people aren't like, gosh, Jordan is so heartless.
No,
I'm
dude.
not. I just, some of this stuff, I'm like, golly, this is crazy how we've gotten here. But anyway, here we are.
Here
and
we
we're
are.
trying to fix this situation.
All right. Before I tell you the number one, I'm thinking to myself, I have childhood trauma. I don't want to get into it now.
You
but
have before, for anyone
I
who's
have
been
before.
an avid listener. Yeah.
But
I
I'm
know.
going to my sisters and I had to experience some childhood trauma, and it was real to us. And I don't care what anyone says, it was real to me. And I'm going to now try to personalize some of this stuff as I'm speaking to myself and speaking to everyone listening. So here's 5 action steps from someone who's been there, done that, and I want to help you on your journey. Action step number 1, okay, is realize what you're doing today on this episode is very important. You're educating yourself, you're looking to your prequel, you're getting trauma informed, and idea number 1 is this, is that unhealed trauma doesn't disappear, it gets transferred. Let me say that again, because that was heavy.
Just something else. Okay. Yeah.
That
say
was
it again.
heavy. Unhealed trauma. And I speak it to you as someone who has experienced a lot of healing from his trauma. Am I ever going to be 100% healed? I don't think so, but it's like that's a whole different conversation. Unhealed trauma doesn't disappear. It gets transferred. What does this mean? If we don't heal it, we hand it down. So if you do not do inner work on yourself of what the baggage you've brought into your marriage, into your parenting, then you've got work to do. Because what the research has shown is that these unprocessed wounds, they are leading you to be reactive in your parenting, especially when the stress hits. And in these reactions, there is a chance that now you are traumatizing your children. That is hard to say out loud. What do you think about
We have a
that?
saying at the Weather Channel. It's where I work. If there's flooding, we try to come up with catchy phrases. Hey, turn around, don't drown. When thunder roars, go indoors. We need to come up with something that rhymes. If we don't heal it, we deal it. Instead of, if we don't heal it, we hand it down. If we don't heal it, we deal it.
So it's so good, dude. It's so good. Brilliant. Dude, if you can see you can see Jordan's face, you can watch this podcast on YouTube if you want.
I'm serious. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's
so
like, oh man, if
good.
I don't heal it, I'm gonna deal it.
You're taking
deal it to my
something
kids.
so serious and like just making me laugh. It's so good. How about this one?
It is serious though.
This is good. This is good. I actually Googled who wrote this. This is so good. Our nervous system parents before our words do.
Our nervous system parents. Oh, okay. Before
Our
do.
words do.
Oh, before our words do. Well, that makes sense because our feelings are immediate,
deep?
and we have to think about our words. Yes.
Isn't that deep?
That is deep.
I like yours. I like yours better. We either heal it or deal it, dude.
That's right.
How come no one's ever invented that?
I mean, I don't know. I just came up with it right now, but something to. Unhealed trauma doesn't disappear; it gets transferred.
Tell us.
Now you're saying some of yours isn't healed. So are you saying you think you might be passing some of yours down? And here's the real question: is trauma really healable?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
How sad would that be if it wasn't? Of course.
I know.
Of course,
I just
it's
didn't know
healed.
if you could just black it out,
No.
mute it. You know what I'm saying?
You got to do
try
the
to
inner
forget
work.
about it.
Oh, you got to do deep inner work. Yes, I have great news for you. Yes, you can be healed. But I think if you met with a trauma specialist, any type of psychotherapist or psychologist who knows anything about anything, what they'd all say was yes, you could absolutely heal yourself from trauma, but there's going to be these tender spots, tender spots that are always going to be there. And so you get to determine it really, because we're kind of playing around with words. Well, then does that mean you're fully healed? And I think it's totally fair for someone to say, yes, I feel totally free. I feel totally healed over what happened to me. I feel like a different person. But I also think it's appropriate to say, I feel so healed, but yeah, there's a couple tender spots still. I'm like every day that passes, I'm getting more and more healed. But I think this is a really important thing you asked, because it's like, how do we talk about healing? I think it's very personal. All right.
Sure.
This actually leads us to our second point, because we're talking about if you don't heal it, you deal it, and our nervous system parents before our words do. So tell us our next point.
Trauma alters the brain and the nervous system, right? So, I mean, that makes sense. Something bad happened to us. We're going to have maybe nightmares. It could literally alter our day-to-day activity. We got in a wreck as a kid, and so now we're like super mindful of like the speed limit and all of that. So it actually teaches us to protect, not to connect. All right. So by that, I mean, let's say a bully does something to me, right? And I get ashamed. I'm going to try to protect myself by the best way I can. And I'm not going to maybe not do that anymore. I'm not going to go talk to those people anymore. I'm so embarrassed. I don't want to connect because I'm just trying to protect what I have left. And then this early trauma impacts something called the amygdala, all right? It's that threat detection software that we have in our minds. The hippocampus, our memory, right? We've got that in there. Prefrontal cortex, Sean talks a lot about. That's the emotional regulation of how we regulate our emotions, and that comes with time and age and wisdom, and it gets better and better. Parents who experience trauma may default to that fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn. Sorry, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. When you emotionally get triggered by their children's behavior, because it brings back all the memories you had of when you were a kid. Even if there is no real threat, it could be the littlest thing, and now you're yelling, and now you're, I don't know, grounding, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Here's Here's my addition to point number 2. Trauma alters the brain and the nervous system. Here's what I see in my work every day. And if you're ready to do deep work on yourself, if you're ready to put your bad parenting patterns behind you and to get all the skills you need, well, then you'd be a great candidate to join me in my VIP membership or to work with me. So take a look at that. Here's what I see in my work. I was just helping mom out of Northern California with this just yesterday. The childhood crap lives in our thought patterns. I don't think that'll be a catchy phrase that you'll find on a billboard. Our childhood crap affects our thought patterns. It doesn't rhyme as well as your rhymes, but how it works is like it changes the way we think. So like when you see a child is disrespecting you, a parent without any childhood crap or trauma would say, "Oh, my kid's disrespecting me. They're just going through something. We'll get through this." But a parent who's brought a lot of baggage, they're like, "How dare this child disrespect me? Like, this is so out of line. We cannot tolerate this," because they're thinking like that. The thought patterns is children should never disrespect a parent. Or let's say you struggle with people pleasing or caving or enabling. So the thought pattern, "Oh, I hate conflict. Oh my gosh, if I say something, it's going to make things worse. Why even say anything at all? It's so much easier just to give them the screens." It's like, or if you're dealing like with a feeling of failure, like you're not good enough, you might say things to yourself like, "Oh, I'm just a crappy parent. I can't do anything right. I've really screwed up my kid. I've screwed up my life. My life is not turning out the way I want to." And if you think about these things a lot, or if you don't like the way you think, well, then you got to look in your prequel and you got to rewire your brain and do it your thought patterns. And I can show you how if you need help. Number 3, tell us number. Oh, I got number 3. Okay. 5 action steps to be on the path of healing childhood trauma. Number 3 is notice the common patterns that are connected in your parenting with your childhood trauma. So slow down and look at yourself and watch your own movie and talk to your friends about your movie, your prequel. Talk to a counselor. Talk to me and say, "Hey, why am I so controlling? I can't see any connection between my childhood, but can you help me understand that? Or why am I so disconnected from my own children? Why do I work so much? I don't really understand why I work so much. I just like working. But can you help me understand why it might be connected?" So it's like asking yourself and asking someone that knows you and cares about you these tough questions. "Hey, what do you see in me? Like, when I see my kid crying, I just want to like yell at them and say, 'Shut the crap up.' Like, but I don't think this is normal. Like, can you help me understand why am I thinking this way?" What do you think about that, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're opening the dialogue, right, and helping them into you, getting a little bit more understanding about why you're doing. Like, let's say the other day, my kid did something and I snapped at them, right? And I snapped at them because maybe I felt that they were disrespecting my wife or they weren't listening or whatever it was. And then the spouse had to come to me and say, "Hey, man, you were a little over the top." So I had to come back to my kid and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry. The reason I did this is because, I don't like the way you talked to mom like that. That wasn't great, or whatever it is." And I'm teaching them the process of why I did what I did. But I have I don't know if I'd call this childhood trauma. It's almost the opposite. Like, think about when we were kids. Like, I loved going to Blockbuster. I loved renting movies. I loved coming home on a Friday night and just getting my movies and hanging out and watching the newest thing. So now my trauma is like, I like watching the movies as a family movie. My kids can't stand watching a family movie. So I'm like, my childhood trauma is coming to fruition in the exact opposite form because I loved it so much and now you don't. And now I'm being I'm traumatic because you won't watch this movie with me. Like, come on, can't we just watch a family movie? My kids are like, "No, can I watch YouTube? I want to watch this person on YouTube." I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, right. I don't want to over psychologize that, but yeah, it's almost like for some people, this is you're not going to like what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it. It's almost like this. For some parents, they have what I call a wound of violation. That's not you.
That's true. Yes.
That's not you. Yeah. But it's like, I need things to
I
be
like
done
surfing. Why don't you like surfing? I like to fish. Why aren't you liking to do what I like to do? I don't understand.
Yeah, you don't understand. Like, you're violating my space, my ego, my goals, because you're coming into my world and you're not doing what you should be doing. You're so uneasy with someone not doing something. I'm not saying that's you because, dude, I almost,
Right.
no joke. I was on a website yesterday and I saw a trucker hat for Blockbuster, and it said, "Be
Oh,
kind," and I
yes.
put it in my shopping cart, dude. I didn't buy it,
Dude,
but I almost bought
you
it.
should though. You need
I
to.
almost
That's
bought
great.
it.
My buddy's got a credit card and it looks like the Blockbuster like movie card. Like it's the
What?
same thing. And I'm like, dude, that's like a movie card pass where you'd scan it,
Oh.
and you check things out.
All right,
All right,
tell
so
us
this leads me
number
to,
4.
I guess,
Yeah.
point number 4. Attachment styles are passed down. That was my attachment. I attach with movies and I try to pass them down. It ain't working.
Well
But this is
said.
different. All right. This is the attachment theory, right? Parents who had, let's say, insecure attachments with their caregivers. Think about your relationship with your parents right now. Okay, those listening. How was it? Was it good or was it not good? Maybe it wasn't good. Maybe it was insecure, right? Now you are more likely to struggle from a secure attachment with your own kids because you never had that with your parents. Or like I said before, maybe it's the opposite. Maybe since you didn't have it, you want it so bad. And so you're trying to get a secure relationship or secure bond with your kid because you know what you were missing, right? It could go both
Wow,
ways.
so
The
good.
good news is the earned secure attachment, I don't know if it's a theory or the saying, it's possible through self-work, through some therapy, mindful parenting, and we can create that bond with our kids or our
Yeah.
parents.
It's great, man. Just saying the same thing in a different way. Like, if you came into parenthood with childhood trauma, you got to do the deep inner work.
Which we all
Otherwise, you're
have.
going to be passing it down. But here's some good news. This point number 5, this cycle of negativity, it can be broken. We are not doomed by our trauma, but we are shaped by it until we choose to reshape ourselves. So, how do we do that? Well, reparent yourself. That's kind of what we've been doing on today's episode. We're like talking to
I've adapted
ourselves.
since I became a parent. I've had to adapt a lot. I've reparented myself, and I think we're constantly doing that, right? You never stop.
That's what good. I think that's what the inner work's about. It's about like talking to yourself, like like the way a wise, loving parent would. Like say, hey, why does this upset you so much? Well, because this, Sean. Oh, that's a good point, Sean. Yeah, what I really want to do this, Sean. I know, but it's really hard for you, Sean. Right, but you can do this. Okay, thank you, Sean. That's good advice. I'm going to do it. It's like giving yourself the emotional love and support that you didn't get from an adult. You
love
can
it.
do that.
So, trauma-informed parenting focuses on emotional awareness, your regulation, how to repair, and connection over correction. So, like I said, like you said in the beginning of the podcast, what'd you do today? Oh man, I just listened to this podcast and now I'm trauma informed, bro. I am good. My emotional awareness is there. I'm repairing on myself and I'm going to connect with my kiddos.
I told you this off air. I asked one of my good friends, his name's Charlie. Hey, he loves our podcast, and I asked people this. Hey, how do you give me some feedback on the podcast? Like, how can I improve it? And he said, I love the podcast, but my favorite episodes are the ones with Jordan, because I really relate with him, and he says the things I'm thinking.
Thanks, Charlie.
So Jordan loved.
Appreciate
So yeah,
that.
this is so as we break these cycles, this is why we talk so much on this podcast about things like heart talks. This is why in my VIP membership, we spend so much time on how to excel at heart talks, how to listen well, how to manage our emotions, how to discipline well. So how we heal ourselves is we reflect. What did I need when I was a child but didn't get? We rewire. How do I respond when I feel disrespected, ignored, overwhelmed? We repair, because we're going to make mistakes. We all do. Whether you had 7 on the ACEs test or you have 0, we all make mistakes. So we need to repair. How do I make amends with my child, when I mess up, to keep that strong attachment all through the teen years? Here's a little recap of what we've done. Most of us, we came into parenting with some baggage, with some luggage, with some childhood crap, and some of us had childhood trauma. Here's 5 things we need to know. Number 1 is this core idea is unhealed trauma doesn't disappear. It gets transferred. As Jordan wisely said, say it, Jordan. Say your catchphrase.
If we don't,
Come on, say it with confidence. If we don't.
yeah, I had to remember. If we don't heal it, we deal it.
Number 2, trauma alters the brain and our nervous system, right? This is actually happening into our brains, into our feelings. We've got to do the inner work because our nervous system parents before our words do. That is deep. Number 3, look for common patterns that are happening in your parenting and ask your friends, ask your spouse, ask people about it. Hey, what do you see in me? Help me understand, why do I get so upset about this? Talk about it. You're not alone. Number 4 is realize that attachment styles are passed down. This is really, really scary and really amazing. So if you grew up with an insecure attachment with your parents, well, then you got to do the inner work. You got to heal yourself so you don't deal it. Heal it so you don't deal it. Become a secure attachment with your kids so that they can become secure attached to their kids, your grandkids. And number 5, yes, have hope, everyone. The cycle can be broken. Generational pain and cycles can be broken. It starts with us doing the inner work, reparenting ourselves, being the parent to ourselves that maybe we didn't grow up with, and doing that through love and intention.
Love it. That's good, man. We are trauma informed. Let's not have it bring baggage to our parenting, which is hard, but it can be done, like Sean said.
Thanks for letting us be a part of your life. If you love this podcast, please rate us on Apple, Spotify. Leave us a comment, and send us messages on our Instagram. Much love, everyone.